Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at the Master Grade Sinanju OVA version, and wow, it's been a while since I've built this kit, and it still looks so amazing. This is such a nice looking kit. I just tend to forget after you don't see it for a while, but man, I love this kit. So this kit originally came out in 2009 as the Master Grade Ver. Later, the OVA version basically just changed some of the material. Some of the ABS frame got changed to just polystyrene plastic. And also now the OVA version does also include the bazooka, which the original version did not include in the box. So if you really want to get this kit, basically, the only reason for getting the Ver is if you really want the Ver decals, but you can buy the Ver decals separately if you can find them. I think sometimes they can be a little bit hard to find, but ultimately I think probably this is the best version of this kit to get, though you can still get the Ver if you do really prefer that. But anyway, if you do want to get this kit, I highly recommend you get it from USA Gundam Store, so thank you for their support in sponsoring this review. You can get this kit and everything else there on their site with 10% off using the coupon code there, ZakuAurelius10, listed down there in the video description, as well as the link to their site, so check them out. This kit, yeah, 10 years old now, but man, does it still hold up very nicely, and the weapons, accessories, everything for this, everything that you get in the box, definitely make it well worth the price. This is one of those Master Grades that you definitely have to build at some point, and I don't really ever say that very often, but this is one that I definitely recommend that everyone should build at some point, just because of how great it is. And yeah, well, we'll get into it. So let's just start off by just going through all the accessories and everything that we get included in the box here with this. Alright, so first up, this came with a big sheet of foil stickers for all the gold lining, which I did use on here, and I have to say, does look really good. I mean, if you take the time to put it on nicely. I mean, if you didn't want to paint this or use the waterslide decals that we also have, which I'll show you in a minute, then I think using the stickers for this is a very viable option. I mean, if you look really up close, you can see, alright, it's just stickers, you know, but at a distance, the stickers do look really nice, and that gold chrome for those, I think, very convincing. But if you are feeling a little bit more ambitious, you do also, of course, have the waterslide decals here as well, which are also in a really nice bright chrome gold. Although, I don't know, I think you're probably in for a bit of a challenge using these. I think probably ultimately what I would do is just do a reverse wash painting technique, but I might give these a try anyway. You also have a set of marking stickers. I didn't use any of these, but this is just a bunch of different markings here in white, yellow, and red. And we do also have a set of dry transfers as well, so plenty of different decals that you can put on this in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And of course we have an action-based connector for this and a standing pilot figure here, 100 scale full frontal in his just kind of standing pose. Alright, then let's get into the weapons because we've got a lot to go over here. So first we have the beam rifle, which is very nice. You have a clear green piece in there. It's very light clear green, and you actually have two of them, one for like the secondary camera back there, which can rotate out like that, or you can rotate that in to line them up together. Otherwise, this doesn't really do anything else, doesn't plug onto the back of the suit anywhere or anything. It's just meant to be held in the hand, but we can open up this for storage with some other combination with some other weapons, which we'll get to in a moment. The first of which being the grenade launcher. So we just got this, I guess that's actually upside down, there we go. So this can just be held in the hand as it is. I'm not sure how well, though I think it might be a little bit kind of wonky to get to actually hold on to that. But we can plug this up into here. That will just plug onto the underside of there, then you can close this back up. There you go, for the more bulked out beam rifle look with the grenade launcher attachment onto the bottom of that. I love this, and that's really nice. You can also attach that though onto the bottom of the shield. So here's the shield again with some more of those gold stickers on there. Again, these lining bits, you know, it's not really all that difficult to get them put on there straight. So again, the stickers do look really nice if you just take your time with those. The shield, just very nice. This will just attach onto the back of the arm. Unfortunately, no way to kind of slide this around. Like with the Sazabi Ver, it's like kind of on a track. You can slide the shield around to the side of the arm. You don't have that option with this one. That is one of the things that I dislike about this kit, unfortunately. Excuse me. Hey guys, editing Zaku here, and I realized something that I wanted to add into the video here. So according to the manual, you have this one leftover extra piece from the bazooka runner, and I didn't really think about it too much until I just kind of realized now that this is actually a different piece for the shield connector. So you can use this to mount the shield not totally onto the side of the arm, but more off to the side rather than just straight onto the back of the arm like with the regular shield connector. So not really sure why it tells you not to use this part at all, but you can definitely use that to connect the shield onto the side of the arm, sort of. So there you go, you won't see it like this at all for the rest of the review because everything else is already filmed, but I just wanted to let you guys know that you do have that, and so don't throw away that extra part if you do want to use this for the shield, which you probably do. But this arm attachment can be folded up, and you can actually mount this onto a hook like up on like the shoulder armor, which is kind of wonky. It's really weird. I'll show it to you guys maybe a little bit later, but I've never really found it to be all really that useful. But as I mentioned, you can attach the grenade launcher here into the back of the shield. So if we stick that up into there, there you go, that can be attached in there so you can shoot that out the shield instead. Then we have the beam axes. So these are really nice. These can just be handheld. These actually do slide up like that as well for their extended form like that. And so these can actually, they have different connectors there at the end. They can be attached together to make a double beam axe like this. And we've got some beautiful effect parts for these, 2 short and 2 long beam effect parts. Again, going to be the same ones that are included with the ZakuAurelius Ver, and so you'll be familiar with these if you've built that kit already, of course. So there's the shorter blade and the longer, more pointy blade, and so the effect parts for these look fantastic. These can also be stored into the back of the shield though. If we stick one on this side and the other on the opposite side like that, there you go, those can be plugged into the back of the shield like that. And then of course you can use the effect parts with that as well, like that, for a really cool look. Again, that's half and half. Of course, if you wanted to make it symmetrical, you could use the same ones like that. And now that's going to be very long, and not sure how well it's going to be able to hold on to that, because now it's of course getting very heavy with all this on there. But it can get heavier with our last accessory. Well, not net last. Let's talk about these first. So we have these effect parts as well, these beam saber effect parts. The beam saber handles are stored up inside the forearm. I'll show you in a minute, so you can just pull those out, and we've got these really nice beam saber effect parts here, also in clear yellow. Really love the effect on these rather than just like your standard beam saber effect parts. These have a much more interesting look to them. They look fantastic. But then the last accessory here is of course the bazooka, which is new to this version of the kit. So here's the full extended form, I guess I should say, like that. It's really cool. The main handle can move forward and back like that. It does also have a secondary handle up here which can move side to side like that. And as you saw here, it does also extend, but that's for attaching it onto either the rifle or the back of the shield. So this also can be attached onto either one of those as well. So the first thing to do that, to remove this kind of array here on the top, we're going to go back to the rifle here and fold out the secondary camera like that, and also remove this. And take the pieces that we took off the top of the bazooka, remove this part here off the back real quick, put the beam rifle's scope onto the top of here, there like that, and then take this piece that we took off, put it back onto there, plug this back onto the top of the beam rifle, and it's getting pretty bulked out now there on the top. It's pretty loaded up with all that stuff on the top of there. And then we're going to take the bazooka and plug this onto the bottom here, so you need to put this down to its fully closed up form like that, and then just plugs onto the bottom the same way that the grenade launcher did. Just clip that all into place, and there you go. I love this as well. It's super duper heavy though, so it's really not going to be able to hold this up because it's just too heavy. But it looks fantastic. If you can get it to hold it up, then more power to you. You might have to use a secondary stand or something, or glue or pin the arm in place to make it totally fixed pose. But this weapon is just too awesome looking. So if you had 2 of the bazookas, you have one attached onto here. You can also attach it onto the back of the shield though. So attached to the back of the shield, we're going to take out this handle, and then we're going to connect this back onto the back part of here. Plugs into place up inside there like that. It's going to just plug straight onto the back of the shield here, and then the beam axes will actually, you can see, will plug into these little bits here on the side like that. And the end keeps wanting to kind of extend out on its own there. We'll have to forgive that. But anyway, here it is then, attached onto the back of the shield. So really cool. So I mean, the weapons themselves are all really cool just by themselves, but the fact that you can mix and match them and plug them onto the shield and rifle in all sorts of different ways is just really cool. It just makes for a lot of different posing options and like weaponizing options you can do for the Sinanju here. But alright, now that we're through all of that, let's talk about some of the articulation. I want to go over the backpack first, because then I want to remove that before going over the rest of the articulation, just so it's out of the way. So first off, the big thruster pods here at the top can move side to side and also up and down, so you have a pretty wide range of movement there for those. They can also open up, and when you open up the top and bottom, the middle part extends out, so watch that carefully like that. It's a little bit of movement, but still pretty cool, and especially if you've seen the OVA or the anime version where that does that in the anime, it's cool to be able to recreate that with the model kit here. So very nice, and of course everything looks really good on that. Fuel tanks here are also on ball joints, and you can sort of adjust the angle of those slightly, but not really a whole lot of movement really with those. So that's pretty much it there for the backpack. Luckily it has a better connection than the HG. It just kind of slots down into there, and it's pretty strong, pretty secure connection for that. So let's go to the head then. The head you can extend up all the way to there, which is actually pretty nice. I think really nice upward movement there. We do have a clear green part in there for the mono eye as well. Really hard to see up inside there. Although I will say I do wish that the Vulcans were in molded gray, just if those were a molded piece. Not really that hard to paint, so I'm not really too worried about that, but it just would have been nice if they were an actual separate part, kind of like with the unicorn. Then the head will go all the way down to there, so overall really nice. It does have a little tiny bit of a seam line here in the back of the head, under like the main top part, under his hat. A little bit of seam line right down the middle of the back of there, but it's pretty negligible. Here for the cockpit hatch that can open up, you'll open up this top part here first, this second part here that also opens up like that, and then the lower part opens down. You can see our seated pilot figure of full frontal is up inside of there, but it's not really going to be all that easy to see, I suppose, so we'll just close that back up. As for the articulation of the torso, you got a little bit to the back and maybe just a tiny bit of forward and back movement there. Side to side movement also not really going to be all that existent, and then also rotation we have a little bit here, side to side, not really a whole lot. So torso articulation not really all that much, but again it's got a heavy backpack, so having more articulation there in the waist could have been an issue with that. As for the shoulders, those will extend out to the front all the way to there, so not too bad. Shoulder armor can move up by itself to about there, for I'm noticing the parts kind of sort of coming apart a little bit like that. And then of course this part here does also move separately on its own there, and here is where that part will extend out for connecting the shield. This little part here pops out like that and then hangs down, and the shield can hang on that. And yeah, I've just never really found it all that practical really, but it's I guess it's there anyway, I suppose. So then the arm can go up all the way to there, which is more than 90 degrees, so not too bad upward movement there for that. Otherwise the arm will just work pretty normally here, just rotation there at the top, and then a double joint there at the elbow to give you a nice full bend there like that. The wrist is on a ball joint, but then also does have a hinge, so you can move that forward and back a little bit as well. The thumb is one piece just on a ball joint, but the fingers are two pieces each. Well, it's 1 and 3 fingers, so you have the first finger and the second, third, and fourth finger are joined, but you can slice those apart if you want. Each finger has a single joint there in the middle of them, so they're kind of not the fully articulated fingers, but like the mostly articulated fingers, so I think is pretty good, pretty well enough. And the back of the arm does also open up. The front part kind of bends forward a little bit, and the back part can be extended out like that. And there's where you got your beam saber handles up inside there, so a good easy way to take them out is just by using the beam saber effect part, and then you know, push that out the back like that, and you've got your beam saber handle there. Or if you put the beam saber effect part in there, you can stick that up inside the arm like that for some beam tonfa action, so that's pretty cool. Down here in the skirt section, obviously going to be a little bit limited by the tubing parts here. The hoses around the waist section are going to be kind of getting in the way a little bit, but you can move the front skirts up to about there, which is not too bad, but it's going to be a little bit limiting. The side skirts as well will move up to there, so not bad at all for those. Back here at the back skirts, those will move separately, have some nice color separation with little bits of gray poking out around in different sections on there. Up underneath the skirt section as well, also got a lot of really nice detail up underneath there, and up underneath the front skirt as well, but it's going to be kind of hard to see, but you do have some nice detail up underneath the skirting armor, which is always nice. The hip joint is not on a track or anything, so that doesn't move, so we just got some rotation here at the top. You can bring the leg out to the side nice and far, no problems with that, but forward to about to 90 degrees looks like it's probably going to be about the limit of that, where the front skirt's going to be getting in the way. As for our knee bend here, we have this nice knee bend with some separation of this kind of two parts of the knee armor there, the outer red part and the inner decorative part there for the knee, both separating, giving you a really nice full bend there at the knee. Very nice. Close that back up. This part here out on the side of the leg can be kind of extended out a little bit a ways from there, and you can rotate that forward and back, up and down, and kind of move that all around. Basically just going to be kind of stuck onto the side of the leg as best you can for most of the time. This little piece here on the front above the ankle does move up and down a little bit like that. Here on the back, this part does also move up and down like that. This secondary part does also move up and down like that for opening that up. And then for the ankles, you can get a pretty good side-to-side movement there. With those, I love the kind of design of these, sort of like slimmed down Sazabi feet. Very, very nice for the design of these. Little toe bend there and just a little bit. And then the whole front half of the foot can also bend up a little bit like that, but not down. So you're only going to be able to point the toe down a little bit, but you can bring the whole foot down all the way to there. So that's really nice. For that, up underneath the feet, you got some nice detail up under there as well. And then I just also want to show you guys a quick size comparison here, because the Sinanju is a very big boy. It's going to be a very large master grade compared to most master grades, and so yeah, it's going to be taking up a lot of shelf space. Alright, so obviously with so many different weapons combinations, there's going to be a lot of different posing options. I'll just go through some of them now to wrap up the review, but I wanted to start off with some of the heaviest options here with the bazooka mounted onto the beam rifle and the long, huge effect parts mounted onto the shield. Yeah, it can hold on to the big giant rifle and bazooka, though it's not going to be able to hold it up straight by any means. I've tried it, it's just not going to work. So, but it can hold on to it without dropping it. So the hand is at least strong enough to at least hang on to that. It's just going to be, you're going to have a hard time actually having it like up in a sort of firing pose. But either way, it does still look awesome, even though it's not firing it, even if it's just hanging on to it. It still looks really good. But yeah, among all the different weapons combinations, even if you are using some of the heavier ones, you can still do some cool poses with those, even though you are going to be a little bit limited by them. But you do have a lot of different options to work with, so you have a lot to choose from anyway. But if you guys couldn't tell, I really, really like this kit. There's very little to complain about it. Aside from the weight of the weapons, there's the seam line on the back of the head, little tiny seam line. There's the seam line on the thruster, on the fuel tanks on the back. And I do wish that the little gray vents, the little square vents at the end of the fuel tanks, if that was a separate piece. I feel like if this kit was made today, then that would be a separate piece. Otherwise, you just have to mask those while you're painting the fuel tanks. It's not really a big deal, but it's just one small little thing while I was building. I was just reminded, like, oh yeah, that's like not a separate part. That's too bad. But otherwise, yeah, the kit is great. It looks fantastic, despite it may have a little bit of trouble doing some certain poses. I think whatever pose you put it in, whatever good pose you're able to get it in, it's gonna look fantastic. And it may be a little bit expensive, but it's very large and a really complex and really nicely put together kits. So I think totally justified in the price. You get a lot of different weapon options and everything in there. You get a lot of sticker decal options as well. The fact that it comes with any water slides at all is a blessing, and that just with standard release master grades, if it's not a Verka, then normally it doesn't come with any water slides at all. So it's nice that you get some water slide decals in there for the lining. The stickers do look pretty good though, if you want to use those otherwise. And then you have the regular marking stickers and dry transfers as well. So a lot of different decal options for this to dress it up even better. Some people might think that it's a little bit low on surface detail, and I could sort of understand that. Yeah, it could have a little bit more in the way of surface detail in some areas, but not really a big thing for me. I like the look of this just as it is, but of course you could dress it up, adding some more detail onto that if you wanted, if you were so inclined. But I would say, as it is, even 10 years later, this is still the best version of the Sinanju. So if you are a fan of the design, then definitely pick up the kit at some point. And so that is it for the review, guys. Again, thank you to USA Gundam Store for their support. Thank you all for watching. If you have further questions or comments, of course, as always, feel free to leave those down below in the comment section. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.